Okay, for background, I am 24, live a very different life than the majority of my family. I didn't graduate high school but got a GED and started working as a welder and hunting guide. The rest of my family is pretty successful. For instance, my father is a lawyer and my mom used to be an RN, brothers own companies, sister got married to a lawyer, etc. I'm glad my family found a lot of success, but they can be very shallow and often put me down for what I do for work. My mom will make comments like, "When are you going to school to get a real job?" Or stuff like that. They didn't want to pay for welding school, so I worked at an auto shop to pay my own way through. They often go on vacations and cruises without me because I won't be able to appreciate the culture or food and other BS like that. I love them, but I have been slowly pulling away from them over the last few years since I can tell that we live different lives and they have no interest in sharing their lives with me. Now, my grandfather's brother Mike and I have always been pretty close. Mike and I used to go hunting when I was pretty young, and even though Mike was also working in law, he and I shared a love of the outdoors and nature. About a year ago, Mike was diagnosed with cancer and has quickly gone downhill in the last few months. I have taken a lot of time off of work to care for him since he is my oldest relative and no one else wants to take care of a frail, sick old man for some callous reason. His wife died 15 years ago and he doesn't have any children. He recently asked me if taking care of him was hurting me financially, and I told him that I was cutting back on hours at work, but I loved him more than any of my other family members, so it was my pleasure to take care of him. The next time I went to visit him, he revealed to me that he was having his will changed and would be willing his hunting cabin. It's not a cabin, it's a small single family home with power and running water, on 70 plus acres, to me, along with about $100,000 to get it fixed up and start your life. He wants the rest of his estate to be liquefied and donated to different causes that he was passionate about. Mike is actively dying now. He asked to be taken out of hospice so he can die at home with his dog, who will also be coming with me when he passes away. In his own home, my family was talking about how much money Mike has, and how when he dies they want to convert his hunting cabin into a summer vacation home, and how they were going to fund a big memorial trip to Europe on his dime, since we are his last remaining family and they expect the majority of his wealth to be broken up between us all. They do not know that everything is being donated and I am getting the house and some of his money. I know that if when they find out about what Mike has so graciously done for me, they will rip me down and curse his name. I don't want to be around for the fallout. I plan to set aside some money for renovating the house for full-time use and start a small welding company someday. So, Wibda, if I cut them out of my life as soon as Mike is gone? Seeing this new greedy side of them has soured me a lot, and I don't know if I can even stand being around them anymore, even though I know that Mike always said that your family should be everything to you. Mike's properties and how they are going to be split. Mike has 3 different homes, and they are very large and beautiful, except for the cabin, which is small and beautiful. He has a lot of assets that are being liquefied and donated. The $100K and cabin will be all that gets passed along from his wealth. Update, August 24, 2024. Mike passed away shortly after my last post. He died peacefully in his sleep. His last waking hours were spent with me, Maisie, and the nurse that was caring for him. He is buried next to his late wife. He lived a good life. Some of his last words to me were, "We had a pretty good run, didn't we?" The will issue was hilarious to me and was a great pain reliever. Mike is always looking after me, even after his death, because watching the bombs fall in real time was like chicken soup to my grieving soul. Yes, Mike did leave the cabin and money to me. He also left me his guns, his dog and her stuff, and his fishing poles/tackle and a few mementos from over the years. He changed the will 3 years ago and simply never told me or anyone else in the family. He left various trinkets for other members of our family that were pretty on the nose. For instance, he left my father, who spent a long time complaining about the contractors doing work on the house, a bag of old hand tools. My sister got a box of wine glasses. One of my brothers got a drawer full of pens and pencils for your blossoming legal career. He also gave all of us some money for a round of beer in his honor. Watching everyone go from fake sadness to excitement, to horror and disgust was quite the trip. My mom kicked the pot of flowers outside the office so hard she tipped it over. My father just stared out the window in silence for a really long time. Oldest brother held it together until we made it home and then started screaming and swearing about getting a fucking box of pencils as a thank you for being part of his life. I have been moved from the disappointment son list to the shit list. As some of you noted, they weren't exactly angry about the cabin and the money Mike left me, but more so his larger assets that were being liquidated and donated. That drove them completely insane. The main target of their abuse was the primary organization that Mike willed the rest of his estate to, and other than an initial small explosion and some snide comments, they seemed to take it in stride. I haven't spoken to them much ever since Mike's passing and the will issue. There are still issues and such that need to be worked out, and I was told that could last up to a year. The cabin has been locked up. I set up some cameras and a gate alarm. I am moving in slowly, hopping between here and my apartment until my lease is up. It's definitely dated and I'm currently working through renovations and repairs. Because my phone number is tied to my work, I didn't want to change it, just opted to block everyone except my mother, in case something really bad happened. After a few days of her complaining/questioning why Mike left me something so nice, she quieted down. Last week she began calling and texting me again and telling me it was an emergency. I spoke on the phone with her, and lo and behold, it was not an emergency. They want me to donate the cabin and land to my sister since she's thinking about starting a family and wants to raise her future children holistically. I told my mom that my sister and her husband have a double income and a lovely house in a completely different state than me, and if they wanted to move out to the country they were completely able to do so, but I would not be giving them my land. She then suggested they buy it from me for $200,000, which is far, far less than it is worth. I said no. I got everything from I'm a selfish bastard, to if I don't support my sister's dreams of raising her kids in the countryside I'm dead to her, to Mike would want me to give the cabin and land over, to see if we ever do anything for you ever again, you entitled asshole. I feel like it should have been harder to hear those things, but it just feels like they're trying to get me to give up what my great uncle willed to me, and it made me angry rather than sad. My sister also got on the phone to cry and say it was her and her husband's dream to raise their kids specifically on Mike's land. I kinda felt bad saying no to her then, but in hindsight she's never mentioned it before, so maybe this is a new development. Since then, they've been contacting me by email, social media, and the like, hounding me to let my sister have/buy the cabin and land. So, despite my best efforts, the people are right once again. I should have gone completely no contact. I've deleted my socials, and since I've moved job locations, they don't know where I am currently working. They do, however, know where my house is. Sometime while I was at work my mom and sister drove over and knocked on the doors, tried to open the side door, and looked in the windows. On my doorbell camera my mother very clearly tells my sister not to touch anything so he can't sue. I am thinking of putting up a locking gate. Right now it latches, but does not lock. Everyone is now blocked and I am putting together a list of people that would need to be notified of a phone number change since I want to change my number. Not really sure how to go about keeping them from walking onto my property. About 2 weeks ago when I came back to my apartment my parents were both waiting for me to confront me about how devastated my sister is that her future children won't have the experience of growing up in the country. I'm kind of afraid that they might camp out at the property until I give in. I put up no trespassing signs and I hope that's enough. I know one of my brothers drove by a while back because he snapped me a picture of the road my house is on. Other than that, I am well, Maisie is well, and Mike is laughing from the grave. I'll stick around a little longer here, and then I'll be logging out of this account permanently. Relevant comments. Oop on getting a cease and desist letter for harassment against his mother and sister for entering the property and helping the rest of the family. Oop, I don't think I can do anything legally, but I'll ask. I was allowed to move in, but on paper I don't own this property yet. Apparently it can take years for the will to be worked through, so I'm not sure what I can do about it legally. I don't even think I could sell the property to them even if I wanted to. I think they want me to help provide for her and give her future kids the dream life. She has never been to this land before. When she and my mom showed up it was the first time she'd been there. Lawyer brother hasn't spoken to me yet. The brother that drove by works in insurance. Oop on Mike's dog, Maisie. Oop, she's a golden retriever, a little older but still active and playful. She's really well trained, so I'm hoping it won't be hard to find someone willing to work with her that's closer to my home. I'll follow previous advice and ask around at the vets. Oop on his relationship with his family. Oop, I'm adopted. Next story. Husband accused me of cheating when I told him I was pregnant. I agreed to a paternity test, but then I found messages on his phone revealing he was having an affair. I, 26F, and my husband Alex, 27M, have been married for a year. Recently, I found out I was pregnant. This was not planned. However, ever since we got married we have not been using protection every time we got intimate, and I'm currently not on any birth control. My guess is that I'm only a few weeks along. I haven't seen a doctor yet. Anyway, I told him when he got back home from work yesterday. I personally was very happy about it because I've always wanted a mom. I was pretty sure I was all smiles when I told him, and I thought he would be too once he found out the news. Let me add that he's been neutral on having kids. My assumption was wrong. Immediately he gets super upset and asks how in the hell this could happen. I explained to him that while it was sudden, we hadn't been using protection every time, so it wasn't that surprising. I thought he would have understood. For some reason he didn't. After a few minutes of back and forth, he demanded a paternity test and told me there was no way it was his. I was hurt and insulted. Let me be very clear that I did not, and will never, cheat on my husband. I have also never given him any reason for him to be suspicious about me cheating on him, either. I was so taken aback that he doubted my loyalty enough to ask for a paternity test. I told him I couldn't believe he was seriously asking me for that. He said that I wasn't helping my case, and that if I had nothing to hide, then I would take the test and prove my loyalty to him. I honestly can't remember all that I said, but I ended up saying something along the lines of, if you're doubting me and my loyalty so much that you think I cheated on you and got pregnant with someone else's baby, then I don't think I want one with you anymore. I don't want to be tied to someone who clearly doesn't trust me. He blew up at me and accused me of cheating once again. It was a big argument, and he said I was being shitty, dismissing his concerns, and saying that asking for a paternity test was valid. In the end, I agreed to the test, but said that I stood by my words. Had to highlight that because some people are saying that I didn't agree to it when I very much did. We haven't spoken since the argument and he's currently at work. I went to my friend for advice and she said that while he was out of line for accusing me of cheating, I shouldn't have said that to him over one of his valid concerns, and that clearly had a reason to feel that way about the situation. I cannot fathom made him feel like I was cheating on him. I was just so hurt that he would insult me like that and accuse me of doing something so disgusting when I thought we were supposed to have trust in each other. But Ida for saying what I did? Edit 1. A lot of people are suggesting he got a secret vasectomy that failed, and that did cross my mind. During the argument I did ask if he got a vasectomy or was infertile and that's why the baby couldn't be his, but he dismissed that and continued saying it just couldn't be his without providing me a solid reason. So in that regard I have really no idea what to say. Edit 2. I feel I should elaborate on the neutral about kids part. I told him while we were still just dating that no kids was a deal breaker for me. He said that was fine because his stance on it was that if we ever have kids, it's fine. If something happens and we don't, it's fine. I'm calling that neutral since I don't know what else to call it. So when I told him I was pregnant I thought he would be fine with it like he said. But apparently he just changed his mind about that and didn't tell me. And also, I have no issues with men wanting paternity tests, I just had an issue with him blatantly accusing me of being a cheater with no solid proof to back it up along with it. Update, August 23, 2024. Hi everybody, this isn't gonna be a super crazy update saying we got the test back and he got a secret vasectomy etc, but it's kind of a big one. This might be a long post. Thank you for everyone's kind words and advice. It was all super helpful, including criticism because it really made me reflect on my behavior and how I handled the situation. On top of that, I'm so sorry that I didn't really respond to any comments. There were a lot just coming in non-stop and it was a little overwhelming. Moving on. After I made that post and he came home from work, I cooked him his favorite dinner and let him relax a bit before I calmly approached the subject again. I told him that I was happy to do the paternity test, just that I was a little hurt that he would accuse me of cheating on him, because I loved him a lot and would hate to make him feel that way. I also apologized for what I said. I asked him if he was just overwhelmed/scared from the news and that's why he accused me like he did. He said that wasn't it and that was genuinely his biggest concern. He then told me he wasn't willing to talk to me, say anything else, or negotiate about anything until after we get the test done. I asked if he was sure and he practically yelled at me telling me to drop the subject for now. So I did. And so things have been super tense. I've been scrolling through comment after comment for what feels like forever. A lot of you said he was cheating. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt and chalk it up to him being told he was infertile or something, but I ended up getting a really bad sinking feeling in my gut that I should check his phone. I never wanted to be the type of person that goes through their so's phone obsessively for no reason, but my gut has never really steered me wrong, so I did it last night while he was sleeping. I snuck his phone off his nightstand and went out to the living room. He's cheating on me. And if that wasn't bad enough, it is, indeed, with my friend I mentioned in the last post. Like a lot of you said. I guess it does make sense now that I think about it, but I'm still really shocked. I'd never been suspicious of their relationship before, but after reading the comments I realize her reaction was a red flag. I went through their texts, and from what I can tell it's only been going on for a few months and started after we got married. But really I only focused on the texts from right after I told him I was pregnant. He texted her saying things like, "I don't know what I was thinking when I decided to fuck her without a condom. She says it's mine of course, but I swear to God it better not be. I'll be happy if it is and obviously I don't want a kid with her. I'd rather be with you than be stuck with her, you in this context being my friend. I know I should have been careful. I don't care if she thinks I'm a dick or an awful husband right now." This was his reply when my friend told him that I came to her about the situation. So yeah. Those were just a few messages, but their conversations were hard to read and I ended up crying a lot. I screenshotted the messages, sent them to myself from his phone, deleted the texts on his phone so it looked like he'd never sent anything, and then deleted the screenshots, and deleted them from the recently deleted folder. I also went on his laptop to check if they were deleted there too. From his texts I gathered that he did not have a secret vasectomy that failed, nor does he think he is sterile since he said himself that he should have been more careful and he doesn't know what he was thinking. I don't think he'd be saying that if he thought he was infertile. I also want to say that yes, he knows I'm not currently on birth control. And he was the one that decided not to use a condom, not me. I just agreed. I did not pressure him. At first he was pulling out, but occasionally he wouldn't. I don't know why he would continue not wearing a condom occasionally after the affair started. I'm guessing it was because telling me he no longer wanted to go without protection every time no matter what would make me suspicious. But that's basically it for now. I am not going to confront him about cheating right away. I am going to get the test, then confront him and tell him I want a divorce along with the test results. I mean, that's currently my plan, but my mind is also all over the place, so maybe that's not the best way to do this? I don't know. It's like 6 a.m, I feel like shit, and I haven't gotten any sleep. Lol, I almost forgot to mention that I'm going to get an STD test just to be safe. I think I'm going to get an abortion just because I don't want my first full-term pregnancy to be literal hell when it should be a happy experience. Frown, but thank you to everybody congratulating me. It means a lot. The next update will probably be after the paternity test, or whenever I feel like I need to update.